And good morning and welcome to the Reality Report. I am Rabid Penguin and you have found Verging Reality. I am joined as always by my friend and brother, John Grant. Say hello,
Hello,
John.
hello, hello, hello. Hi, how you guys doing?
So,
Looking forward to today's discussion.
Reality Report. Fun is had by all. We hope you're enjoying our reports and you're getting some cool stuff out of it. We are having a lot of fun doing it. And we're gonna number 3. So exciting. 3. We won't do like we did with 2 and start throwing up toes and elbows and stuff. Don't worry. Don't worry. That was a one-time fun deal. So,
Yeah, no toes.
so it's early. We decided to do this in the morning this time. So this should be fun. Um so what's been up this week? How you been doing?
Uh, I've been doing good. It's been it's a quick week right now. But I've been good. Looking at news.
Yeah, we
Looking
had a
forward to
holiday
seeing
last week,
some.
so or we had a
Mhm.
holiday the week of this report,
Yep.
and so it was a short week. But we were still
And it was a
working.
long weekend.
Yes. But we were still working for you because
Mhm.
that's what we do. We find all the awesome that's fit to report and we tell you about it. Like what? What have you found, John?
S-
What have you found for our
So,
audience?
so do we want to tell them a little bit about why we were delayed in this report?
Sure. So we had technical difficulties as noobs are wont to have. We are new to all of this recording and filming and editing. And for some reason, even though we ran all our tests and everything seemed to be working just fine in our pre-test, in our post-test, we lost all sound. So we had actually done this show on Friday evening, but John did not come through. And hey, he's half the report, so he's got to come through. So we've decided to redo it because there was really nothing I could do about the sound. But hey, if you're watching this and you happen to be an audio-visual guy, you know about editing movies and videos and sound, and you're interested in helping us out at all, we would love to hear from you. We can't offer pay or anything at the moment, but definitely as we're successful, we would feed that out to the team that helps us be successful. And so there could potentially be something there as the show gains influence and gains ground. And we'd like to believe that it's going to take off and people are going to love it and we're going to get sponsors and everything else that you hope for on the YouTubes. But at the end, at least you would have a place to practice your skills and just have some fun helping out a couple of guys who are having fun. So if that's something you might be interested in, we want you. But
And
you don't
it's
have to sign up for four
any
years or anything.
audiovisual guys, gals, you know, come to come to play in the party and make it all better than we have right now.
Yep, yep. I'm doing all the sound and editing, and I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm getting it together. Like now, we are actually recording our voices separately and locally, so that no matter what happens to voice, we'll be able to manipulate those voice files separately, and the desktop audio separately. Hopefully, that's going to help us with any future problems. But I'm sure some others will crop up, and maybe you can help us with it. Or if you just have some suggestions to help us, you've done this kind of stuff, and you've faced this kind of issue, let us know in the comments. Some cool ways that we can overcome some of these challenges. But so that's why we're doing this now. You kind of missed out on the one where we had my nephew and John had his son with us, but we'll get them back on the show at some point in the future. And yeah, so um,
All right.
cool stuff has happened last week. Various
Some
news items.
awesome stuff.
Yeah, there's always awesome stuff happening in VR. That it's just it's an exciting world. Henry, which is a virtual reality short story created by Oculus Story Studio, won an Emmy. They won an
Yay!
Emmy!
Woohoo! Yeah,
Yay!
that's the start. You start getting some of the big movie studios really, really interested in. Oh, you mean we can win an Emmy with a little short film? And they already have a lot of assets already put together in 3D. So you could start seeing some short experiences like Henry out of these
Yep.
large studios and not just Oculus Studio. Uh, because, they're little quick home runs, right? That they have really good talent, and all they have to do is add a little tweak inside their little VR experience, and it might bring them an Emmy. And a lot of those studios are looking at numbers when it comes to what they've won, or just that they can tag on to Emmy award winning,
Mm-hmm.
or Oscar award winning.
Yeah, what's cool, so their Emmy was for Outstanding Original Interactive Program. So that's cool. If you have an Oculus and you haven't tried Henry, go download it. It's free. It's a lot of fun. I don't know. I enjoyed it. We
Mm-hmm.
kind of talked about this before, but to me, one of the cool things is that um, you have people talk about they worry about movies, right? They worry about, oh, we want to make VR movies. No, no, we don't want to make VR movies. You'll ruin movies. Nobody's talking about getting rid of the old movies, the way we've done movies forever. Nobody's talking about changing the way we tell stories in that way. What we're talking about is adding to how we tell stories. I keep hitting my mic.
You're talking with
we're
your hands, which is awesome.
Yeah, I can't help it. Um,
Everything is awesome.
yeah, everything is cool when you're part of VR. But um,
Uh,
you know, uh, virtual reality is just going to bring us a new way to tell stories. And one of the concerns is, well, you'll miss things in VR because you can just look all around and you'll miss the point of what the director's trying to show you. And honestly, I kind of find that a little pompous, if I could say
yeah.
that,
Hey,
because
pay
it's
attention
it's
to what
like,
I want you to see only.
yeah, it's all about the director, but I'm the one paying for the movie, so why not let me experience it how I choose? And
Yeah.
then if I miss something, I can always watch it again, right? I can see it again, and
It's
I can
funny.
decide for myself at that point.
This
You
will be
know,
one of those experiences where whenever my wife watches movies at home, she'll get up and walk away and go do something in the kitchen and come back, but not pause the movie. And I tell her, "What are you doing? They spent
yeah,
millions of dollars on those seconds that you walked away from the movie." And I said there was something there they wanted you to see that would be relevant later on. Otherwise, why is it in the movie? And so just imagine that then in VR. Although you don't get up and walk away and go grab a glass from the kitchen or anything like that.
yeah,
Um, but it just means that every second inside the film means something. I mean, it means something to you because you get
right,
to choose where to look during that experience.
yep, yep.
VR movies. That's got to be the next category on Netflix. But
Yeah.
I think it'll first
Well,
show up in PlayStation because
y-
the PlayStation Network, where it's trying to do, it's going to have the PlayStation VR,
right.
but they also want to be their own kind of TV channel and stuff. Then you could imagine seeing some of those experiences inside there pretty quickly because they already have their entertainment system set up.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I mean, Oculus and Vive have kind of beaten everyone, right?
Hmm.
Because Oculus and Vive, this is where you find all the content, and people who have those devices, that's where they're used to finding those content. Even with a Gear VR, you go to Oculus Home to find even 360 videos, Although Google is out there too with YouTube because they have the 360 VR YouTube. You can experience VR videos on YouTube. I haven't actually figured out how to do that yet. I don't know if it
Yeah.
requires cardboard or what it is, but it's there. They have it. It's usable. And then the web.
So so think of the kind of your first channel like who is it? Foo, with Michael uh what's his name?
Kind of the game
Is it
show.
Michael? Yeah, yeah, but so it's real, and it's real people participating in an animated like game show or talk show. So
The Foo Show featuring Will
eventually,
Smith.
yeah, with Will Smith. So you imagine doing the Foo Show, but it's live and it's streaming, and people can jump in and experience it in VR.
Right.
Um, so more and more of those kind of applications would be really interesting because then you start your own little reality show that others can
Mm-hmm.
experience with you. Imagine Big Brother, but as the Foo Show kind of thing, where you can
Right.
jump into each person's perspective, or you can move around in a God's eye view and all around while it's going on live.
Yeah, and I mean, you see this and you think about other places like alt space and
Hmm.
just the potential for shared spaces in VR.
Yeah,
I'm
V
actually going
time,
to do
alt
a
space
review.
VR. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually going to do a review of alt space in the coming future to
Hmm.
kind of talk about it because I think it's cool. I mean, it's, people are always worried about how technology is keeping us from connecting. And, I think technology is just changing the way we connect, but it's no less real. It's a whole world of people who feel like they can't connect because they don't know how to connect in the world, or there are people with phobias and different issues who, for whatever reason, they can't get out of their house. They're fearful of meeting people. They're shy because they're worried about being judged. But on the internet, for a long time, it's been a place where you can be who you are, and you're generally not going to be judged because what are we judging? We don't see you, right? We hear your voice.
Hmm.
That's it. So we generally judge you by what you say and your actions and the things that you do, or your interests that end up aligning with ours. Um,
So with VR like this, it's going to be okay. There's that main interest right away,
yeah,
and eventually, the idea of VR as the interest goes away because it'll be so commonplace, and then it's where are you in that experience? You know, are you
right.
shooting weapons? Are you in the mechanical engineering lab and
Hmm.
working on something with somebody else? All of it in VR. Those kind of things. That's what.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need
I
to do a
mean,
thing of Labster eventually.
yeah, I mean, being able to connect to your family, right? To go shopping with your sister or with your mom, but they live in
Yeah.
another state, right? But you'll
Well,
be able
or the
to with the
traveling,
scanning.
shopping or traveling with them.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Stargazer, right? The Razer Stargazer camera, which allows you to scan objects in 3D. So we're at the point already, and then there's others like the IO sensor, which will scan your entire body using a tablet, and you can import that into Unity or Unreal. Or hey, it's time to get up, John. You'll
It's wake
import
up
that
time.
into Unity and Unreal, and you'll be able to basically have a lifelike avatar to go in and try on clothes and see what they might look like, and even conceivably have a proper fit because your avatar is based on you. So,
Hmm.
um, and you start to talk to people about that kind of stuff, and they start getting excited about the connections they can make, and they start to see that technology isn't necessarily a hindrance. It can help you in connecting to people you will never have been able to connect to easily otherwise, not without significant expense.
Hmm.
So,
Oh.
now that we've waxed philosophical, what else we got? What else we got?
So along the lines of the of Henry and VR,
Uh huh.
I mean the Emmy winning. So this is it that studio that did Gnomes and is it Gnomes and Goblins?
No. Uh, yeah, that's a good reminder there. No, Gnomes and Goblins was actually done by WeVR and
Oh yeah.
director John Favreau, who was actually the director for the Jungle Book, the recent Jungle Book movie, live action movie, and he also worked on Iron Man and some other movies. Of course, he's big Hollywood director. But yeah, he did the experience, Gnomes and Goblins, and you and I have both tried it. What'd you
Yeah.
think?
It was really, it was a very good experience, and it's another one of those. It's an experience that'll help people who might not normally look at VR experiences as an opportunity. So for guys who have families and want to ensure that their wives get an experience that is relevant and meaningful to them and interesting, uh, Gnomes and Goblins gives that opportunity to put them in an experience that is really a nice. It's a little movie-ish kind of, you play a part in the whole role, uh,
Right.
and for kids, another good little experience. Nothing crazy, um, but I love the way they've pulled things together. You get to explore a little bit. You kind of hear things going on, and I really liked it. So what's interesting about this, I wonder, could the result is still the same at the end, I think, generally for everybody experiencing it. So with Henry, you couldn't really interact much, right? In that kind of VR
Right.
movie experience, he looks at you where you're at, and you feel like you're there, like you're peeking in on it because he's looking at you every once in a while. Well, with this one, these things are reacting to you. The environment's reacting to your controller. Still, stuff happens,
Yeah.
but it's an experience that you're a part of. So, and there's a path that happens along this storyline, but you are always a part of it. So I'm curious, could this win an Emmy? I think it could
Yeah.
because
I
it
mean,
still has a story.
yeah, and I mean when you look at it, it's what did Henry win for again? Yeah, outstanding original interactive program, and yet, like you pointed out, Henry's not overly interactive. At least not that I remember figuring out
Right.
where I could do anything. But Gnomes and Goblins is very interactive. I mean, you can pick up acorns, and I would pick up some acorns and I'd leave them out for the goblin, and he'd come out and he'd look at me. He'd be all like,
Yeah.
and then he'd reach for the acorn, he'd grab it and run off. Right,
Yeah.
and then one time I look up and there's one trying to grab this piece of fruit,
Were you
and
opening doors and stuff on the
yeah, you
trees
can
and
push
looking
open the
in
doors
and
and look
everything?
in.
Yeah, you can reach in and do stuff.
Yeah, and there's a stump. Well, when I reached in, your controllers go away, so you can't actually interact with the inside from
Except
your
for
large space.
yeah, except underneath where all of the acorns were in the bottom of the tree, and you could open it
Right.
up and he was storing them in
Oh.
there, but you could push them
Oh.
around and all the way up in there.
I didn't see that one. So,
Yeah.
see, I mean, that's the fun part about interactive stories. You go back and say, "Hey, I didn't try this last time. I'm gonna look at this now." I remember there was a stump where you could look
Mm.
down underground, and then I realized there was like a tunnel
Yeah.
system. So when they're disappearing
Yeah.
behind the trees, they're going down underground underneath all the
Yeah, you could
trees,
hear him, or you could hear him going under you, the spatial audio, and it's like,
scurrying
hey, it's
around.
over there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I looked. I actually got on the ground and tried to look in the hole.
Uh huh.
And at some point, my Vive just cut out and wouldn't show a picture at all.
Uh
But
huh.
you could get in there pretty far. Of course, I was right at the boundaries as well of the
Mhm.
chaperone system. But yeah, it was just cool because you almost felt like I could fall in the hole.
Yeah.
So, and that's only part
Yeah.
of it, right? That's just the
Mhm.
goblin part of it. The gnomes is still coming, and this is something
Yeah.
they want to add to. So this is I mean, imagine telling a story like this where you write a chapter at a time for people to experience, right? And they experience the first chapter, and then they're waiting for the next chapter, and and you just keep adding to this story,
Mhm.
and you add these cool little, ways to interact with the story. Now, I don't know what story he's trying to tell yet, but there is a story there, right? Right now, we're just experiencing the Goblin Village. Eventually, we'll experience the Gnome Village, and then there's some kind of story going on there that we're going to get to kind of see and be a part of. I'll move my
Yeah.
camera here a little bit. And who knows what that's going to be, but I'm excited to find out. I want to see I want
So
to
it
see
was
the
more
rest
than
of it.
just. So they did a really good job in a really nice environment, and I wanted to get beyond just the location I was in.
Uh-huh.
And spoiler alert. Do I want to give a spoiler alert?
Sure, you warned him. Let's give him a second. All right.
All right,
Spoiler alert
spoiler
in
alert.
3
All right,
seconds.
so
One,
one,
two,
two,
three.
three. All right,
You're
so
stuck.
when you're doing the swirling around and all, and try or the bell and
The
trying
bell.
to
Yeah.
get all the stuff going with the bell, and then you end up becoming small. What would be nice is to be able to go up to those rope bridges between the different tree houses and stuff. That would be nice to be able to
Yeah.
go in there and experience those actual places. Now that you're small, it's like,
Yeah.
all right, let me teleport to these
Right.
different spots, walk the rope bridge, be inside and go up and be inside the house because they built it out. It's there,
Yeah.
right? Let me experience it from inside as a small
Yeah.
little person.
I wanted to do that too because you have room scale, and
Yeah.
so and he did it for the Vive, on purpose, first,
hmm
and I'm assuming it's because of the controllers. Um,
So that's
and yeah, I
this
wanted to
is
be
an
able to walk on the bridges too.
so this is another example. Okay, so end of the spoiler alert. So this
That
is
wasn't really
another
much of a
example.
spoiler though.
This is another example of how to bring more business into VR,
Yeah.
because there's another way of monetizing the resources and the time, everything that was spent to create that movie experience, like Henry, right? So people might say, you know what, I want to walk around Henry's house, because it was my first VR movie experience. I
Yeah.
want the option to now move and get outside of his house and kind of look around it a little bit,
Yeah.
in its context of where it should be located in something. So please just let me teleport around and experience it and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff in a limited way. What that does is it says, all right, it's almost like there's a new Star Trek movie. The Star Trek movie comes out. Um, there's maybe it's a Star Trek short, and you're experiencing variety of things going on in it. And then at the end, it says, "Would you like to actually walk the bridge on your own and see your desktop up on the big screen, that kind of thing?" Well, here, pay $5 or $4.99 or 99 cents or whatever, and download this particular app, and now you get to experience and free roam all that stuff. The thing is if it becomes a popular short, and you monetize that 99 cents for the extra little activity that it takes, just because you've created all those assets. Now you might end up with million, 2 million, 99-cent hits, or
Yeah.
more, and now you've brought in a little bit more resources based on all of the stuff you've already done.
Right.
And I've seen that with, I think that's going to be that'll probably be a normal process as some companies start to understand they have content they've created for one purpose, that with little to no effort based on the people that created it, they can make adjustments to monetize it in another way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of potential there. I would have loved to walk into the kitchen that Henry walks out of because you see it there, but you can't actually go
Uh-huh.
in it, or go and look around the different spaces where you can tell there's like another level, and you can look
hmm
behind you and see his bed, but you don't know what's in that other part of the room, and you're just
Yeah.
curious because it's VR and you want to
Imagine
see it all.
imagine using that environment to so somebody says, "All right, I want to teach someone how to make such and such cookies, chocolate chip cookies. I want to teach my child how to make chocolate chip cookies. All right, well, we're going to do it in Henry's kitchen, right? With all the ingredients and all that kind of stuff. And you
Yeah.
just go through the process because it's an opportunity to do it. Or wherever they cook, they don't really cook on Star Trek.
Job
It's like,
simulator.
yeah, yeah, you do it on Job Simulator.
My daughter loves doing job simulator. She loves cooking for the robots, and she'll reach up and she's grabbing from the fridge and she's doing all this stuff and throwing stuff at the robots because she thinks it's funny when they get mad at her.
Yeah, it was
So,
funny is one of my friends, his daughter's really calm and everything, and she got into Job Simulator and went crazy throwing stuff around. It was like a different person in there, but she could do it in there, and there were no consequences. It
Yep.
was really weird.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't have. I was just thinking as we're talking about gnomes and goblins. I didn't have my daughter try it yet. I
Oh
need to
boy,
do
she
that
would
and
love
film
that.
her
Yeah.
because she's going to go crazy seeing the little
hmm
goblins. She's going to think they're so awesome.
And
And
here's the
hopefully
other
they'll
thing
scale
with
down to
that.
her size.
Yeah, I think one of the things it will, because it's going
Okay.
off of the height of the user. But in a VR experience like this, where you become personally involved with things, and it only takes a few minutes to become personally involved, and so those
Right.
interactions, especially for a child, become very important, and then quickly that child wants that as a toy stuffed animal or whatever to be on their bed, right?
Right.
They've already associated with them in just a few minutes, less than 15 minutes. They've done something with that, and that becomes a friend of theirs. They really want a toy at Target when you go there, right? Or Walmart or Toys R Us. They want to see where's the I want, and if you found it at a Comic-Con or something like that because you couldn't find it anyplace else, she would want that goblin because she spent 10 minutes of her life, 10 minutes of her life not witnessing it, but being a part, actually experiencing and interacting with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, talking about experiences, and we talk about VR a lot, and we talk about um, that it's not just about games. It's not just about um, movies and things. There's so many other things that it's for, but there are a lot of awesome games. And for myself, room scale has kind of been that thing there. I haven't found that app, that game that just really makes me go, oh, I just love room scale. Call of Starseed was the first one where I really enjoyed the room scale aspect. Um, a chair in a room was another one I played recently, and we're gonna be doing reviews on these in the future. But that was another one where using at least you wouldn't actually need room scale in a chair in a room because you're very limited in the spaces you can walk in, and it's easier to teleport. But I'll tell you one game where room scale was really, really enjoyable, and we both played it. You know where I'm going?
Yes.
Onward.
Onward. Oh, it's fun.
Onward is a mill sim game that is
So
in early
military
access.
simulation.
Yep. It is in early access. Oh, I'm gonna bring it up here by Downpour Interactive, and from my understanding, this game is being created in Unity by one person, or at least by a very small team of people.
Someone
And
needs to give them more money because this is a friggin' awesome game.
yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of experiences, and this is one of my favorites so far. I mean, you jump in, you've got your weapon models. You choose to be on the Marsoc, or you choose to be on the Volk is the other side, which is the Op 4, the opposing
I've never
force.
even heard of Volk before.
I don't either, but they're using Russian weapons and stuff, so I'm
hmm
assuming there's some kind of Russian terrorist, maybe Ukrainian. I don't know. Never heard of them
Yeah.
either, but they're the bad guys. I guess depending on your perspective, but to me, they're the bad guys.
Yep. They're
And
not Marsoc, they're the bad guys.
yeah, so I mean, you basically go in. You can see here on the screen now that you can see the different weapon models. You've got quite a few to choose from. You can choose roles from rifleman to automatic rifleman, specialist, and then you can be dedicated marksman, where you can use sniper rifles and do kind of be the team scout.
Now, a lot of you
Right
have probably
now,
done this kind of stuff because it sounds familiar to everybody. Okay, those are the kind of, which is good because you're not adding, you're not confusing anybody on how they might play this game. But
yeah,
it's the virtual experience in this. Even though
Right.
The scenery and stuff isn't really the kind you would see in the AAA games.
Right.
No, it's the experience, and that's a really interesting thing to look at. That you don't have to have AAA quality graphics necessarily. You just need to be able to put somebody someplace that they feel presence, and you can still feel presence. You can
Yeah.
be in a cartoon world and feel presence.
Yeah.
But it's the different type of interaction that you have, the multiplayer, the multi-user stuff. Um, really, really good experience.
Yeah, and I mean it's not that it's cartoony. I mean, but it is on the lower graphical side, but honestly, when you're in the game, um I really didn't notice. Uh
Right. It kind yeah.
so Onward. Um
Yes, onward.
I will
Onward and upward.
I will not play the video in a full screen mode this time because it jacks everything up. Silly internets. But yeah, so we both had a fun time playing this game. Um, I was looking at
Uh,
the early access piece on Steam to see where the guy's kind of wanting to go with it. He says that he's planning to have Onward in early access for about 10 to 12 months. He would like the full version of Onward to have 6 to 8 maps, each with day and night modes and dynamic weather. That would be pretty cool. Maybe having a sandstorm in the
yeah.
middle of one of the villages, as well
Uh-huh.
as new custom-built weapons and character assets. And once the community has grown and he's stress test the servers, he'd like to push the player count to 12 versus 12. That'd be a lot of fun, as long
Oh
as the
yeah.
maps are big enough. If you're turning around every corner and there's somebody to fight, that's not necessarily going to be fun on every map.
Right.
On close quarters maps, that would probably be a lot of fun. But and then he also wants to add a co-op enemy elimination mode, so that players can team up together against AI on multiplayer maps, which that would be fun.
He needs to add a knife to your weapons
So my nephew was
because
saying he
I don't
saw
remember
somebody
seeing a
stab
knife in it.
someone with a knife.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing any knives, but yeah, that would be very effective because you could sneak up on somebody and with your controller just like
Yeah. So anyway,
Hassan Chop.
that's Onward. We will be doing again, as always, a full review of that at some point in the future. One of us will be. I'll actually be doing a review for this for. I actually took on a spot as a VR columnist on VRTodayMagazine.com, and I'll be doing a review of Onward for them as well. So I'll do a YouTube interview for Verging Reality, and I'll use part of that to do a review for the written side as well. My first column is actually going to be turned in tomorrow, where I talk about the other aspects of VR, except for the other aspects of VR beyond games and 360 video, but also how those kind of tie into those other aspects. Because no matter what you want to say, it's games that have driven this, this technology at this point. People have been playing with this. We've said this in other shows. People have been playing for this for a long time, but it was games and gamers, people wanting to be immersed in their games like Onward, to feel like that you are the soldier running. I mean, the cool part is, you use your controllers, your lighthouse controllers, and you actually grip your gun. And then when you want to run, you got to hold it down in a proper position. You bring it up, and you can actually sight through the sight. If you're a sniper, you can look through the scope. It just really gives you a sense of presence. And I don't know, it's one of my favorite games so far. I actually think my neck is hurting because of playing. I don't know. I have a pain in my neck. Can't figure out what else it might be from. So
Uh-huh. I do too. I had it too. That would
so
be funny if it was Onward because of the way
yeah,
that I was playing. And
yep,
you know what it would be really nice is, yeah, no, never mind. I'll talk about it another time.
yep. So there were some other things we were going to talk about, but we will save them for another show because we are coming to the end of our time for this show. Um, Hopefully you found it really interesting. And as always, please engage with us either on Facebook at Verging Reality. You can reach us now at vergingreality@gmail.com. And of course, you can comment down below and chat. Let us know what you thought, what you think we should do better. I'm sure there's plenty of things. If you like the video, please subscribe and like it. That's the best way to see our future videos. Hey, I think we're getting better and better at this each time, but that's my personal opinion. But hey, we'll get there. And again, if you want to help out with the show in any way, we would love to hear from you and see how you can help us. So, until next time, thanks for coming on this journey with us, and we will see you on the edge of reality.
Very soon. Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.